Over the past century, the world's tiger population has plummeted.
They hunt the tiger for every part of its being.
Due to poaching, climate change, human-wildlife conflict, and loss of habitat.
There's no point us complaining, and you just got to do something.
Meet the scientists, rangers, filmmakers, and patrollers.
It takes a whole country to save a tiger.
From the jungles of Sumatra to forensic labs in Thailand and the rainforests of Malaysia.
Protecting the Malayan tiger is protecting all the other species in the forest.
They're putting up the fight of their lives for the king of these jungles to reign once again. I'm Bill Weir. This is Mission Tiger. Sukamto is a wildlife ranger, but before that, he was a poacher. Right here in the dense jungle on the edge of southern Sumatra, Indonesia. This island is home to some of the most incredible species on Earth, like the Sumatran rhino, the Asian elephant, and the critically endangered Sumatran tiger. Sukamto says he hunted them all until he was caught and spent over 4 years in prison. It changed the way he looked at this natural paradise.
Ketika saya memahami, saya pernah punya kesalahan dengan.
When I realized that I had made a mistake with my hunting in the past by hurting animals, I thought this was my place to atone for my sins.
This place is Tambling Wildlife Nature Conservation, or TWNC, a conservation area spanning over 180 square miles of forest, part of the Bukit Barisan Selatan National Park. It is a pristine environment, teeming with wildlife, and an abundance of prey species like sambar deer and water buffalo, creating the perfect ecosystem for tigers. Now, Sukamto's job is to protect it from poachers like his former friends.
Awal sampai sekarang.
My main job is to prevent illegal poaching and encroachment of forests, like people looking for birds and hunting animals like tigers.
He's one of 50 rangers who regularly patrol this remote landscape. And when they run out of road, they find other ways to get around.
Sungai ini, karena kita.
So we patrol the river to prevent poachers, because around the river paths there are many animals, like pigs and deer and tigers too. The food chain all gathers near this river, so poachers also often go there and make base camp.
No sign of tigers during daylight. But that's about to change. After the sun sets, the forest comes alive. These 3 cubs were spotted in January, a sign that Tambling's tiger population is increasing.
Itu untuk 6 harimau Sumatera.
At the time I was a poacher here, it was very rare to find a tiger. Hunting tigers was already difficult. Now, the Sumatran tigers in the TWNC are soaring in density compared to other national park forests.
But Tambling wasn't always like this. Over 3 decades ago, its shores were beset by illegal fishing and hunting, and illegal logging had reduced the forest by about 20%, according to TWNC. Conservation work started here in '96, and the reserve was founded in 2007 by Indonesian businessman and philanthropist Tommy Wanada. Since then, this ecosystem has been restored so dramatically, preliminary data from TWNC finds it may be one of the highest densities of wild tigers in all of Southeast Asia. But even in this prime tiger territory, finding them is not always easy.
Jalur, lewat jalur ini sudah.
So the rangers are on the hunt for signs like these.
Ini sekitar
Now, this scratch has been here about a month and a half. The tiger usually signs his territory, so this is his location.
They set up a camera trap to capture a glimpse of the tigers. And other forest residents who thrive here in Tambling. Since 2012, they've used this method to identify 48 wild tigers.
sampai di mana dia masuk.
That's where we can identify one tiger from the other, from the stripes on their body.
It's work that offered Sukamto a sense of redemption.
Kalau saya sendiri,
Now, if I meet a tiger, I'm not afraid anymore because now I believe when I'm good to tigers, good to the forest, then they will help me.
Karena apa?
For these rangers, protecting tigers in this vast and vivid landscape in turn protects the entire ecosystem for generations to come.
Untuk saya ke depan,
I hope the forests here can be kept safe so that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the fresh air and can see the animals in the forest, so that they don't just look at the photos or hear the story that there used to be Sumatran tigers here.
jadi kita harus kita jaga.
The tiger is the heritage of our ancestors. It is our treasured inheritance that we have to keep safe.
Every day Marizal comes to work, he's afraid. It's a fear he hopes will keep him safe. Because Marizal is a tiger keeper.
Takut sih ada.
I'm scared even though I've been here for a long time. The point is we're always cautious because if we're careless, then we'll hurt ourselves.
Under his care are 5 critically endangered Sumatran tigers at a rehabilitation center in South Sumatra. It's not a job for everyone. One day, he made a mistake with the cages.
Begitu saya nyampe di dalam dia.
When I entered the cage, it turned out that the tiger had also entered from the cage next door. I was speechless. But he didn't move. I then backed away slowly and immediately closed the door. Then he moved. God still gives me protection. Maybe if something bad happened at that time, I wouldn't be here today.
Marizal knows these are no ordinary tigers. Some were born here, but others are conflict cats who were captured after killing people. They're brought here for medical treatment and assessed to see if they can be released back into the wild.
Cara kami merehabilitasi harimau yang
The way we rehabilitate tigers so they can be released is we conduct behavioral observations. First, we see if the tiger tends to avoid humans. Second, we always feed them with live pigs. And third, we always release them in open cages so that it feels like a real forest, so we can train them to hunt.
Over the past 40 years or so in Sumatra, as their prey populations and forest homes have been eroded, development and deforestation have brought humans and tigers closer than ever.
ya khawatirnya ya mungkin sama.
Tigers are just like humans when it comes to hunger. Even though humans are not used to stealing, when they're hungry, they might steal. Just like tigers when they enter people's settlements, eat livestock and even eat humans because they find it difficult to find food in nature.
Marizal has been working here since 2008, when the center opened, as part of Tambling Wildlife Nature Conservation, or TWNC. Since then, they have released 7 tigers back into the reserve, including Panty in 2015, a female suspected of killing someone. With an abundance of prey species to hunt in Tambling's dense jungle, Panty reportedly has had no conflict with local villages, a testament to the reserve's success in managing human-wildlife conflict. The 5 that remain in captivity cannot be released, as they're deemed unable to survive in the wild or are still dangerous to humans. Like Salma, who Marizal says killed 7 people in central Sumatra after her cubs were taken away. But with only around 400 to 500 Sumatran tigers believed to be left in the wild, each one counts.
Masih tetap terjaga gitu.
My main hope is that where they live in the forest is well preserved. The tiger will then further develop its ecosystem, not only for other tigers, but for other animals, like deer, that become their food.
Finding the delicate balance of keeping both tigers and people safe is crucial to their long-term survival here. And for Marizal, that's a job worth doing. This is Cow, King, and Kong. And it's playtime at Bung Chawak Wildlife Management Development Center in central Thailand. These 3 tiger cubs are the face of illegal wildlife trafficking in this country. They were rescued from traffickers in November 2022 and rehomed here in a government-run zoo under the care of Dr. Natanan Panpet.
ได้ค่ะก็ลูกเสือ
At 6 a.m., the nannies feed all 3 cubs with milk. And then after that, every 3 hours, we feed them meat.
These hungry cubs are evidence of an effort by the Thai authorities to crack down on wildlife trafficking in the country. Without intervention, their fate could have been very different. Sold for skin and bone, teeth and claws, or to the illegal pet trade. According to the conservation NGO Traffic, authorities have seized around 150 tigers a year worldwide over the past 20 years. But rescued cubs like these can provide clues to this devastating trade. Following these clues is wildlife forensic scientist Dr. Kanita Witawan. As a researcher, she realized she could forge her own path to protect wildlife in her country by helping found Thailand's first wildlife forensic center in 2010.
ว่าห้ามล่าห้ามค้าสัตว์ป่าเนาะ
I realized that in Thailand, we already had a law that prohibited killing wildlife, but there was a gap that allowed it to still happen. So I decided to quit working and went to study in the field of bioscience in order to use my knowledge of DNA combined with my knowledge of wildlife to solve this problem.
Often, some of her best clues come from the DNA of poached or trafficked animals, tested to determine species and origin. That evidence can then be used in court cases to help prosecute wildlife crimes.
ปัญหาอาชญากรรมสัตว์ป่า
Wildlife crime is a problem. It has been there for a long time and it never disappears from this country. Wildlife forensic science is one of the tools to solve this problem.
Samples include skins like this, one of the reasons tigers have been poached to the brink of extinction for their parts. often sold as traditional medicine or luxury goods. Conservation organizations say this trade is fueled by tiger farms in China, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam that help grow demand, which further endangers the wild tigers. And the 3 rescued cubs? Dr. Witawan says preliminary data suggests they are Siberian tigers, not native to Thailand, and therefore were likely captive bred. So despite practicing on their teddy bears, Dr. Panpet says these cubs would not be able to survive the wild. But here, they can still get a taste of freedom.
If we're unable to release a tiger into the wild, we'll compensate by finding it a place suitable for its size, where there's space to run and equipment for it to play with.
อนาคตของเขาก็อยากให้เขาสุขภาพดี
I want their future to be healthy and happy.
This rainforest in northern Malaysia is estimated to be more than 130 million years old, a time long before humans walked the earth. Filmmaker Harun Rahman first came to Royal Balloon State Park 25 years ago.
With the world as it is now, you're finding less and less wild places that are big enough to actually sustain a really good diversity. And Belum is such a space because it's connected to other large forests as well. And that creates all this space for all kinds of animals to thrive.
Over a decade ago, he came back here with his wife and fellow filmmaker, Lara Arifin, to begin work on a film about one animal in particular, the Malayan tiger. And what they discovered was a wake-up call.
What we were finding out was that tiger numbers were really critical here in Malaysia, and nothing was being done.
As of 2020, the National Tiger Survey found fewer than 150 Malayan tigers remain in the wild.
Poachers come from outside Malaysia, and they hunt the tiger for every part of its being. We said, you know, there's no point us complaining, and you just got to do something.
But to save the Malayan tiger, they needed help. Deep in the jungle, around a riverbed, this lost world is home to a forgotten people with an ancient way of life. The Jahai people are part of an indigenous community called the Orang Asli.
The Orang Asli has been here since people arrived in Malaysia, so they know the area very well. They are key to actually saving the park for many, many years.
The couple founded Rimau in 2018, an NGO devoted to hiring local patrollers to help protect the park from poachers. Rimau, partnering with the Perak State Parks Corporation, has been training them on how to use modern equipment needed on patrols, which hasn't always been easy. As Rahman says, most of the locals they work with don't read or write. Artie Kembong has been a patroller since 2019. And the team is named Menrak, which means people in the Jahai language.
I see we have changed. We now know how to fill out the form. I now know how to take pictures. The Menrak team wants to learn now.
The patrollers head out into the jungle for up to 2 weeks at a time. They track signs of humans and wildlife, and install camera traps. They are also on the lookout for these snares left by poachers to catch tigers and other species.
Prior to 2019, every year we would find hundreds and hundreds of snares. In Royal Belum, in 2020 and 2021, we have reduced almost 95% of all snares. The tiger is an apex species, meaning it's in the top of the food chain. And the biggest role that the tiger plays is to maintain balance in the forest. Protecting the Malayan tiger is protecting all the other species in the forest.
Kambong's work doesn't just benefit the ecosystem.
This job is not just for me. It's not just for my family. But all the people in the village can feel the income from Menrak who work in the forest.
Rimau works in partnership with Perak State Parks Corporation Director Shah Reza Hussain. They now have 30 Menrak patrollers protecting the park.
Nobody else can protect the Malayan tigers except Malaysians. Malayan tiger has been a very strong symbol for the country. It's a symbol that brings the people of Malaysia together. The hope is that Royal Belum becomes a key source population area for tigers to breed and go out into the other forests and be able to repopulate the rest of the country.
Going from filmmakers to conservationists has been a joint leap of faith, but one that's brought its own rewards.
The most rewarding, of course, is knowing that the work that we're doing is making a difference. When we hear that tiger numbers have bounced back within Royal Belum, that gives us such great joy.